Hello, we've seen and we've heard about the frustration over San Francisco's homeless crisis. It's made national headlines. And then you have business owners and neighbors.
In 2026, America hits a breaking point. Millions of people who once had homes, jobs, and stability are now being pushed into RVs, forced to live on wheels as cities crack down, rents explode, and layoffs strip away everything they worked for. Families, seniors, veterans. No one is being spared. This is the part of America the government hopes you never see. The year 2026 represents a convergence of economic pressures, pushing millions of Americans into RV homelessness. Since 2020, the country has faced rising inflation, stagnant wages, and a housing market that has effectively priced out the working class. By late 2025, the national median rent reached nearly $1,900 monthly, while average wages increased only 3%, failing to keep pace with living costs. Mortgage rates above 7% froze homebuyers out of the market entirely, leaving more families trapped in rentals or unable to secure stable housing. Meanwhile, nearly 1 million layoffs across retail, trucking, tech, and manufacturing sectors stripped workers of income and employer-sponsored housing support. RV ownership exploded during the pandemic, with over 600,000 RVs sold in 2021 alone. Now, those same units are becoming emergency shelter for people who never intended to live in them long-term. By 2026, experts predict over 2 million Americans may be living in RVs, cars, vans, and converted buses. Cities are tightening parking laws, states are enforcing overnight bans, and RV parks are reaching capacity limits. All of these pressures converge in 2026, creating the perfect storm where mobility becomes survival, affordability disappears, and millions have no option left but to live on wheels. The tipping point isn't coming. It's already here. The RV industry is experiencing a repossession and abandonment wave not seen in decades. During the 2020 to 2022 boom, RV loans reached record levels, with many families financing units at inflated prices. Now, as interest rates climbed above 8% and monthly loan payments exceed $500 to $1,000, thousands of owners can no longer keep up. By 2025, major lenders reported a 32% increase in RV loan delinquencies, far outpacing auto loan defaults. Many RVs purchased during the pandemic have already depreciated by 40 to 60%, meaning owners owe far more than the rigs are worth. This creates a financial trap where families cannot sell, cannot refinance, and cannot maintain monthly payments. As economic pressure grows, repossessions spike dramatically. Tow yards are filling with travel trailers, Class Cs, and fifth wheels that banks cannot resell. Abandonment is also rising at alarming rates. Cities in California, Washington, Oregon, and Arizona report hundreds of RVs left on streets, vacant lots, and industrial zones after owners simply walked away. Some counties have spent over $12,000 per unit to tow, store, and dispose of abandoned rigs because they contain hazardous waste. This surge is expected to double in 2026. Repos and abandonments are becoming clear indicators of how deeply the economic downturn is pushing the middle class into permanent mobile homelessness. As RV homelessness grows nationwide, cities are enacting stricter laws designed to deter long-term parking and encampments. By 2025, more than 220 U.S. cities implemented new RV restrictions, including no overnight parking rules, 72-hour movement requirements, and towing authority for expired registration. In Los Angeles alone, over 14,000 RVs are estimated to be used as primary housing, placing enormous pressure on neighborhoods and city services. Municipalities argue that RV clusters create sanitation issues, block traffic lanes, and overwhelm local utilities. As a result, many cities have introduced aggressive towing sweeps, often relocating dozens of RVs at a time. Fines have increased significantly as well. Parking violations that once cost $50 to $75 now exceed $200 in major metropolitan areas. In Seattle, police can tag and tow an RV within 48 hours during emphasis operations. In Phoenix, entire neighborhoods have transitioned to no RV zones. Even smaller towns are joining the crackdown wave. Places like Boise, Spokane, Reno, and Colorado Springs now fine residents for sleeping in vehicles on public property. These enforcement actions disproportionately affect low-income RV dwellers who have nowhere else to go and cannot afford RV park fees ranging from $900 to $400 monthly. As 2026 approaches, cities are preparing larger sweep budgets, more towing contracts, and expanded enforcement maps, signaling a harsher environment for anyone living on wheels. Affordable housing in the United States is nearing a full-scale breakdown, with demand far outpacing supply. As of 2025, there is an estimated shortage of over 7.3 million affordable units, leaving millions of low-income families without stable housing options. Section 8 waiting lists in major states including California, Nevada, Colorado, and Florida are closed indefinitely, and in many areas, the wait time exceeds 5 to 10 years. Meanwhile, the median rent remains around $1,900 nationwide, but in cities like San Diego, Denver, Seattle, and Miami, it surpasses $2,500 to $3,000 monthly. Wage growth has not kept pace. Nearly 45% of renters are now rent-burdened, spending over 30% of their income on housing alone. Construction of low-income housing has slowed due to high materials costs and restrictive zoning regulations, while investors continue to purchase single-family homes for short-term rentals. This leaves fewer units available to working families desperately seeking affordable options. As options shrink, more people turn to RVs as transitional housing, hoping to stay afloat until rentals become affordable again. But with RV parks raising rates and cities cracking down on overnight parking, this temporary solution becomes a long-term trap. By 2026, analysts warn that more than 2.5 million Americans may be priced out of traditional housing entirely. The collapse of affordable housing is one of the key drivers behind the surge in RV homelessness across the country. Between 2022 and 2025, U.S. companies announced waves of layoffs across tech, trucking, retail, and manufacturing, industries that employ millions of middle-class workers. By 2025, total layoffs surpassed 1 million, with trucking alone cutting over 100,000 jobs due to freight slowdowns and company bankruptcies. Tech companies shed more than 350,000 workers, many of whom relocated during the remote work boom and are now stuck with high rents they cannot afford. Retail chains like Target, Best Buy, and Walgreens have collectively closed hundreds of stores, pushing thousands more workers into unemployment lines. Without steady income, many families are forced into immediate lifestyle changes. Some move into RVs they already own, while others purchase older rigs as a cheaper alternative to rental housing. With rental prices rising and savings depleted, RV living becomes the only option to avoid homeless shelters. Middle-class families who once had stable careers are now parking in church lots, industrial zones, or RV parks offering monthly rates ranging from $900 to $400. This shift is reshaping the face of homelessness entirely. It is no longer limited to the poorest, but now includes skilled workers, former homeowners, and entire families with children. As layoffs continue into 2026, economists expect the number of newly displaced RV dwellers to rise dramatically, fundamentally changing the demographics of American homelessness. RV parks across the United States are hitting capacity at levels never seen before, driven by a surge of full-time residents who can no longer afford traditional housing. As of 2025, an estimated 1.7 million Americans were living in RVs, vans, or cars, placing enormous pressure on campgrounds originally designed for short-term travelers. Many parks now report 90 to 100% occupancy year-round, especially in states with warm climates like Arizona, Texas, Florida, and Nevada. Monthly rates have also skyrocketed dramatically. What cost $450 to $650 monthly in 2019 now frequently costs $900 to $1,400, with premium parks charging even more. Private parks, seeing demand surge, are converting nightly spots into long-term rental sites, reducing availability for traveling RV enthusiasts. Some parks now have waiting lists up to 6 months long, forcing displaced families into parking lots, industrial zones, or highway rest stops. Corporate-owned RV parks, especially those under equity lifestyle properties and sun communities, are standardizing higher prices, making it nearly impossible for low-income RV dwellers to secure stable monthly rates. Meanwhile, state parks and national parks enforce strict stay limits, usually 14 days, preventing homeless RV residents from staying long-term. This overcrowding traps families in a cycle where they must constantly move to avoid fines, tow risks, or eviction from illegal parking. By 2026, projections show RV park shortages worsening as more households lose housing. Across America, counties are rapidly expanding no overnight camping zones as RV homelessness spreads beyond cities and into suburbs and rural areas. In 2025 alone, more than 160 counties introduced new restrictions targeting vehicle dwellers, including bans on sleeping in RVs, parking limits under bridges, and prohibitions in industrial parks. These laws are often passed quietly, buried in county board updates, but they reshape how RV dwellers can legally exist. In counties like Riverside in California, Clark in Nevada, Maricopa in Arizona, and King in Washington, enforcement maps have tripled in size since 2020. Entire districts, including business corridors, residential zones, and tourist areas, are now no overnight vehicle habitation zones. Violations can bring fines of $100 to $500, and in many cases, towing after 24 to 72 hours. Counties argue that RV encampments create fire hazards, wastewater dumping issues, and rising complaint volumes from homeowners. But for people living in RVs, these expanding red zones leave fewer and fewer legal places to park. Some counties even require RVs to move every 8 to 12 hours, making stability impossible for workers, seniors, or families with children. As 2026 approaches, more counties are drafting emergency measures to prevent long-term RV camps from forming, especially near schools, parks, and commercial centers. This escalating patchwork of bans is pushing RV dwellers further into remote areas with no services, water access, or safety. The average RV on American roads today is more than 20 years old, and many rigs used for shelter are far older. As homelessness rises, people are buying or inheriting deteriorating RVs with water damage. A 2024 nationwide survey found that 62% of full-time RV dwellers live in rigs older than 15 years, and nearly 30% live in rigs older than 25 years. These aging units were never designed for long-term living. Roof seals degrade, causing leaks that lead to mold and collapsed ceilings. Propane systems corrode, creating fire and explosion risks. Faulty wiring, common in rigs from the 1990s and early 2000s, can spark electrical fires, especially when space heaters or window air conditioning units overload circuits. Many RV homeless lack the money for repairs. A roof replacement can cost $4,000 to $12,000, while electrical rewiring can exceed $3,000. As systems fail, many RVs become uninhabitable, forcing residents to live with dangerous conditions. Plumbing tanks crack, furnaces stop working, and cooling systems fail during heat waves. Cities report growing numbers of RV fires. Some neighborhoods in Los Angeles saw one RV fire every 36 hours during 2024 to 2025. In 2026, with more people living long-term in old rigs, the number of structural failures, fires, and health hazards is expected to rise dramatically. For RV dwellers, mobility is survival, but rising gas prices are destroying that ability. By late 2025, the national average gas price fluctuated between $4.10 and $5 per gallon, with states like California exceeding $6.0. A Class C motorhome averages 8 to 12 miles per gallon, meaning a basic 200-mile relocation can cost $80 to $150, and longer moves quickly exceed $300. Many RV homeless simply cannot afford this expense. As a result, thousands are becoming stranded RV residents, stuck in one spot for months because they lack fuel money. This immobility puts them directly into conflict with city laws requiring RVs to move every 24, 48, or 72 hours. When they cannot move, towing becomes inevitable. Towing a large RV can cost $600 to $2,000, and storage fees often compound daily. Once towed, most people never recover their rigs. Rising diesel prices also impact generator usage, meaning many RVs lose access to heating, cooling, and refrigeration. In hot states, lack of generator fuel increases heat-related medical emergencies among RV dwellers. Gas price spikes also prevent families from relocating to cheaper states or safer areas, trapping them in unstable regions with strict enforcement. As 2026 approaches, analysts warn that fuel affordability may be one of the biggest accelerators of RV homelessness, as immobile residents face constant towing threats and escalating fines. Corporate ownership is reshaping the RV park industry in ways that directly harm low-income residents. Over the past decade, large companies like Sun Communities, Equity Lifestyle Properties, and KOA have aggressively purchased small, independent campgrounds across the country. These corporations collectively control tens of thousands of RV pads nationwide. Their business model is simple: buy older parks, modernize amenities, and raise monthly rates dramatically. What was once a $500 to $700 monthly stay becomes $900 to $1,500, pricing out families who rely on RV parks as long-term housing. Corporate-owned parks often eliminate discounted long-term spots in favor of nightly or weekly rates, which generate more profit but destroy affordability. Many parks now require background checks, credit checks, and proof of income, barriers that exclude the very people who need low-cost housing most. Sun Communities alone reported annual revenue exceeding $2 billion, driven heavily by rate increases and standardized pricing. As corporations expand their portfolios, independent mom-and-pop campgrounds, traditionally the cheapest option, are disappearing rapidly. This consolidation leaves RV homeless, with fewer places to go and higher costs at every turn. By 2026, analysts predict over 50% of private RV parks could fall under corporate ownership, creating a near monopoly on available spaces. This corporate takeover makes RV living financially impossible for thousands already struggling to survive, eliminating their last affordable housing option. Across the United States, RV encampments are expanding at a pace local governments can no longer manage. These clusters form in gray zones, industrial districts, dead-end roads, abandoned parking lots, and areas just outside city limits where enforcement is weaker. In 2025, Los Angeles documented over 8,600 RVs being used as primary homes within city boundaries, but experts estimate the real number is closer to 12,000 when counting unregistered units. Seattle, Portland, Denver, Phoenix, and Sacramento have all reported similar surges. Many encampments now contain 30 to 200 RVs, forming semi-permanent communities without sanitation, water, or trash services. As cities increase parking bans, RV dwellers migrate together for safety and stability, unintentionally creating larger, more visible clusters. These encampments create major health risks: raw sewage dumping, rodent infestations, hazardous waste from broken tanks, and frequent fires caused by makeshift electrical setups. Fire departments report RVs burning 2 to 3 times more often than traditional homes, especially during winter months when people rely on propane heaters. The growth of RV encampments also fuels political conflict. Homeowners demand removal, while humanitarian groups warn that forced sweeps only push people farther into danger. As 2026 approaches, the rapid expansion of these encampments signals a failure of housing policy and a deepening crisis where thousands have no legal, safe place left to go. A hidden health emergency is unfolding among America's RV homeless population. Unlike traditional homes, RVs rely on fragile systems: propane, generators, battery banks, and limited ventilation. When these fail, residents face life-threatening conditions. In 2024 to 2025, emergency rooms in California and Washington reported increasing cases of carbon monoxide poisoning, heat stroke, hypothermia, and respiratory infections directly linked to RV living. Many older rigs have mold from persistent leaks, leading to chronic breathing problems. Without stable electricity, residents cannot power CPAP machines, refrigeration for medication, or air conditioning during extreme heat. Heat waves have become especially deadly. Temperatures in Arizona and Nevada regularly exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and in 2025, Maricopa County recorded over 400 heat-related deaths, many involving people living in vehicles. Sanitation is another crisis point. Broken or full black tanks force people to rely on improvised bathroom solutions, increasing exposure to bacteria and contaminants. Lack of running water makes hygiene difficult, contributing to skin infections and gastrointestinal illnesses. Many RV dwellers avoid medical care due to cost. With over 27 million Americans uninsured, small health issues quickly escalate into emergencies. Winter brings its own dangers: propane shortages, frozen water lines, and malfunctioning heaters. As 2026 approaches, public health, experts warn that the growing RV homeless population faces escalating medical risks that cities are unprepared to manage. Law enforcement agencies across the country are preparing for stronger crackdowns on RV dwellers in 2026, driven by rising complaints, public safety concerns, and pressure from local governments. Police departments are expanding enforcement operations targeting long-term RV parking. In 2025, Los Angeles police conducted over 3,000 towing operations, while Portland and Seattle each reported more than 1,200 RV-related citations. Many cities now run coordinated RV sweep teams made up of police, sanitation crews, and parking enforcement officers. Their mission: tag, tow, and clear RVs from prohibited zones. New policies allow officers to ticket for expired registration, broken windows, flat tires, or any condition that classifies a vehicle as unroadworthy. These tickets range from $150 to over $500, quickly becoming unmanageable for low-income families. Once an RV is towed, daily storage fees, often $60 to $120 per day, make retrieval nearly impossible. Many cities also require insurance proof to release a vehicle, another barrier for those already struggling financially. Enforcement often intensifies near schools, parks, and residential neighborhoods due to political pressure. As 2026 nears, police departments are expanding budgets specifically for RV enforcement units, expecting an increase in homelessness, abandoned vehicles, and public complaints. These crackdowns make stability nearly impossible for RV dwellers who must constantly move to avoid fines, towing, and the permanent loss of their only shelter. RV insurance costs have surged dramatically, creating a financial crisis for vehicle dwellers already struggling to survive. Premiums rose 18 to 35% nationwide between 2023 and 2025 due to rising accident rates, wildfire damage, and increased theft in high-crime areas. Older RVs, especially those over 20 years old, often cannot qualify for comprehensive coverage, leaving owners vulnerable to total loss if their rig is damaged or towed. For many RV dwellers, monthly insurance now ranges from $120 to $250, far beyond what low-income families can afford. Insurers are also tightening requirements, demanding permanent addresses, updated registration, and proof of mechanical roadworthiness. Without these, many policies are canceled or denied outright. Once uninsured, RV dwellers face immediate legal risks. Police can impound uninsured RVs during traffic stops or routine sweeps, and once impounded, towing and storage fees often exceed the value of the rig. In states like California and Oregon, stolen catalytic converters and battery thefts, now extremely common, can cause thousands of dollars in damage. Yet uninsured owners have no way to repair or replace critical components. Insurance companies are also pulling out of certain regions due to wildfire exposure, leaving entire counties without affordable coverage. By 2026, experts predict that over half of full-time RV dwellers may be uninsured, dramatically increasing their vulnerability to financial collapse, legal consequences, and permanent displacement. As RV parks become unaffordable and cities tighten restrictions, families are turning to grassroots parking networks as a last resort. Online groups on Facebook, Reddit, and specialized apps like Boondockers Welcome and SafeLot have exploded in membership. By 2025, more than 400,000 Americans were part of these digital communities offering driveway parking, shared land, and temporary stays on rural properties. Churches, small farms, and private landowners increasingly step in to fill the gap left by government inaction. Some offer parking for $5 to $20 per night, while others allow free stays in exchange for light work or community involvement. Families coordinate safety patrols, water-sharing systems, and generator fuel pools to survive together. These networks create micro-communities with their own rules, expectations, and shared resources. However, they also come with challenges. Zoning laws often restrict residential vehicle parking on private land, risking fines for both hosts and guests. Some counties prohibit more than one RV per property without special permits. Despite these hurdles, DIY parking networks continue to grow because they offer what cities no longer provide: stability, community, and safety. As 2026 approaches, these networks may become the primary support system, keeping thousands of families from falling deeper into homelessness. The grassroots movement represents both resilience and a failure of traditional housing systems to protect vulnerable populations. By 2026, America is poised to face the largest wave of RV homelessness in its history, triggering several major outcomes. First, displacement will intensify dramatically. Analysts warn that up to 2.5 million Americans could be living in RVs, vans, or cars by late 2026 as rent, inflation, and layoffs overwhelm the working class. Second, federal intervention becomes increasingly likely. Lawmakers are already discussing designated vehicle residency zones, federally funded RV villages, and emergency subsidies for low-income vehicle dwellers. Third, lawsuits will rise significantly. Civil rights groups are preparing legal challenges against towing sweeps and parking bans, arguing they criminalize poverty and violate constitutional protections. Fourth, abandoned RV numbers will skyrocket. Some cities expect 40 to 60% increases in derelict rigs requiring hazardous disposal at taxpayer expense. Fifth, housing markets may finally begin to correct as demand collapses, but any price relief will come too late for families already displaced. Sixth, public pressure will force cities to adopt new policies, from safe parking lots to better sanitation access and designated overnight zones. Ultimately, the 2026 RV homelessness crisis exposes a deeper national failure, a system where millions cannot afford housing even while working full-time. What happens next depends on whether the country responds with compassion and practical solutions or with more punishment and displacement of vulnerable populations. The fight for affordable shelter is only beginning, and millions will feel its impact. If you want to understand how this crisis started and where it's heading next, watch our next video. It uncovers the deeper forces behind the collapse and the states already pushing people out. And drop a comment below. Have you seen RV homelessness rising in your area? We read every response.